This is a really quick video for Sean at Defiant Wings. I'm just going to kind of show the way I have my vacuum set up. I am using actually a medical pump, but any pump would work just fine. I started off with a $12, like 12 volt little tiny thing, and that worked just fine. It just took longer to evacuate. So this here's a one-way valve. So everything this way is in the system. Everything on this end is under pressure. This one-way valve is just a simple little thing that moves, and so as soon as this shuts off, the pressure is greater over here, and that little piece of plastic just sucks right up against there and just stops any pressure from leaving the system. And then another thing I was reading online is that you want to relieve the pressure on this guy because the pump still has pressure in here and that can damage parts. So I've actually poked a bunch of pinholes in here, which doesn't affect at all its ability to pull pressure from here. But as soon as this shuts off from pulling pressure that way and this is locked off, the pressure slowly eases, and I guess supposedly it's better for the mechanical parts or the diaphragms or something. Anyways, I didn't do that for a long time, but I figured why not. This I have on the pump side. I've also had it on the inside. You need some type of actual negative pressure air gauge. There's a difference between an air pressure gauge and a negative pressure gauge. And you can think of that mechanically as if it's a positive pressure gauge, the device is made to hold everything together against pressure, but a negative pressure gauge needs to be hold everything out. So you could imagine, I'm sure there's been some fun explosions with people using the wrong type of gauge there. So anyways, now right here, this is a pressure switch. It's a very simple device. It's an analog device, meaning I have a screw I place in there. It's just a cherry switch, and I can't remember if it's normally on, normally off, but essentially when the vacuum drops below the setting, it turns power onto here. And as soon as the pressure drops to whatever I set it to, it cuts power to this. And so, and it's within a couple. So that really is how you can keep your bags under the correct pressure. Now these are only good for 5 amps. I actually burned one of these up, burned one of these up going to this big guy. So what you're not seeing inside of here is a cheap little relay. And so this essentially is turning on the relay, and the relay is allowing power to this big guy. So just something to think about. When I had my tiny little baby pump, that was never a problem. But and then once you're in the system, it could be as simple as going straight to a bag. I've seen some guys, they'll get like some Schedule 40 pipe and essentially make a huge air pressure reservoir, if you want to think of it like that. And what that would allow you to do, think of it like in electrical terms, to be like a capacitor. It's going to take out it's going to even out a lot of the pressure. This may not have to run as often. It may come on for longer, but then shut down for longer. And also, if you sucked down the system and then you plugged it into a bag, it would suck the air out of that like really quick. But I use long epoxy. I don't need that. So, and then you need an entry point into your bags. And I tried DIYing this. I should have just bought this. It's $12. You poke a hole through the bag, you put your hand inside, and you just screw this together. And oh yeah, this tubing is just, I don't remember what they call this. I just got this from Ace Hardware. Some neoprene, or I think it's like 1/8 or something, that just pops on there. And a lot of times I'll just leave this plugged into the bag. But after I've pulled it off a few times, I just snip this off and I just put a new, fresh part on there. But The bags, I like buying these super long rolls. They're just tubes. They're open on each end, and you buy it by how long you want. And I'll unroll this as far as I want. And I have 2 sets of clips. And you just clip that end, and I'm sure it lets out a little bit of pressure, but again, the pressure gauge will take care of that. You can also buy some tape. I've seen guys like heat seal it and use garbage, anyways. So that is my system at the moment. The only other thing is inside. It kind of is hard to think of, but you want the vacuum to be able to get everywhere that you want pressure. And so I used paper towels originally. Now I just buy this breather cloth. And the way to think of it is everywhere that this breather cloth is somewhere that the pressure is being allowed to get to, and you're going to have pressure pushing. So you want this around all your stuff. And again, I started with paper towels, worked just fine. This is just way more convenient, and I am very careful about making sure epoxy never touches this. And this is like the 3rd or 4th time I've been using this roll. And so you want this to go from here and then out through the bag, top and bottom, wrapped around, like everywhere you want that pressure. So that is my system at the moment. Anything else? All right, that's it.